Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going to be looking at the last P, which is place in 4 P's. So let's talk about what place decisions are. What is the importance of place in the 4 P's, the marketing mix basically. So place decisions are concerned with how products should pass from manufacturer to the final customer. That is the route that the product takes to reach that for their final destination. Like what is the channel that the channel of distribution basically, what is the channel of distribution that the product goes through in order to reach the final customer from being manufactured. So place is basically concerned with distribution of products. It's not about the placement of it's about like how the product is placed, or like how it reaches its desired place. It's not about the location of the business or the the main concern of the location. It's just about how the product is like supplied to its desired location. So there are different channels of distribution available for this purpose. In order to understand what channels of distribution are, we need to understand the terms distribution and channel of distribution. So distribution is basically it means that getting the right product to the right customer at the right time in a way that is most convenient to the customer. Now that is a lot of rights or something, but like yeah, that's the basic definition given in your book, the main CIE recommended book. So just in case a question comes for 2 marks to explain or define distribution, you can go with this definition and you can easily score 2 out of 2 or 3 out of 3, whatever the question is of. So as you can understand that we have to deliver the right product to the right customer at the right time in the most convenient way to the customer, so that customers can easily get the product, but it may be costly to us. So what are the channels of distribution? It is the chain of intermediaries a product passes through from producer to consumer. Intermediary are basically just anything that is in between manufacturer and the product. It could include agents, selling agents, that is, and it could include wholesaler or even retailers. So let's go to the distribution channels, the different types of distribution channels. They are basically in mainly three distribution channels, three types of distribution channels. One is the no intermediary, where you don't have any intermediary in between. There's a single intermediary and there's a double intermediary. So in no in single, before I start explaining it, just for your convenience, I've just marked this with green, blue and red. Green is the details of that particular method, blue are the advantages and red are the disadvantages. So as the name suggests, no intermediaries, there's just direct selling, that is manufacturer to product to the customer. There's no one in between, there's just manufacturer and customer. So it is basically done when online selling through internet, because you don't have to go to wholesaler or retailer or anyone. You just the customer orders the product and you directly deliver it to him. So there are no intermediacy, so no profit margin taken by anyone. You have full control over your marketing mix however you want, and there's direct control direct contact offers useful market share. So as you are the one who is in direct contact with the customer through the media, through your website, there's greater data available for market research purposes, and this is usually quicker than other channels, as you'll see, because the chain gets longer, it takes more time for the product to reach the customer. However, it has some disadvantages as well. The storage and stock costs need to be paid by the business. So as there is no one in between, so the manufacturer has to rent a warehouse and store all the products being manufactured. So all the costs needs to be paid by the business only. No one will else be pay for the cost. Unlike in other methods, as we will see, wholesaler usually pays for the stock cost and all. And as there are no retail outlets, it limits the chances for customers to see and try before they buy. For example, things like clothes, you don't have any other specific outlets or something where people can actually first try and see before they decide on buying the product or not. Because generally in online selling, it could be a problem that customers might think it is beautiful, but when they see the actual product, they might think, oh, it's not that good as much it was in the picture, or maybe they could have some size issues But generally these size issues can be covered by, there's a exchange policy or something usually, and there's also return policy offered by such businesses. So that is not a disadvantage, but sometimes it could be like, if you want to see the product and try it before you want to buy that, before you want to make the purchase. So it can also be expensive to deliver each item sold to customer. Like if you someone buys from that one particular part of the country, someone buys from another, there's the shipping cost, the transportation cost. So all these costs are the customer, the manufacturer has to bear all these costs. And there will be no after sales service offered, because you won't be able to directly, like, there won't be any shop where customers can reach out to. You are directly selling your product, so you can't offer after sales service, such as if you are selling some cars, for example. So you can't offer some car repairing services or garage services to the customer in case there's some issues. So that's one of the disadvantages. Moving on, there's the single intermediary method, where a retailer or an agent is involved. Agents are usually involved when we are selling industrial goods, like holiday companies selling holidays using travel agents, but it is generally used for consumer goods, as it is done by large supermarkets who have their own warehouse. So for example, stuff like eggs and whatever stuff you usually buy and eat, the edible items, for example. So what advantages does this have? Retailer, as retailer comes in, it has to hold the stocks and pay for the storage cost. In this particular method, the retailer is can be described as retailer and wholesaler, because it's fulfilling both the roles. These are large supermarkets, they have their own warehouse, so they buy in bulk and they sell it directly to customer. They don't have to sell it to someone else who will sell it to customer, so they are acting as retailers as well. And they display products and offer after sales service as well. Unlike that no intermediary method, you can offer after sales service and also display product for customers to try before they try the product before making the purchase. Producers can focus on production rather than distribution. This is one of the biggest advantage you can have, because if you are no intermediary method you'll use, you have to be concerned, you'll be concerned about the distribution, about the cost and all. But in this method you won't be concerned about the cost, because the storage cost and all will be paid by the retailer. However, it has its disadvantage, because you have to pay some profit markup to the intermediary, so the product can become expensive. So it might not be good for products which have a which are elastic products, because if price increases, then the demand will drastically decrease. So you have to be first sure about the price of the product, and therefore make choice accordingly. As business loses with there's someone in between, they lose some control over marketing mix, because how the product is displayed or how the product is placed, it's all up to the supermarket. The business cannot do anything about it. And there's no exclusive outlet in this particular method, because you are selling it to large supermarkets which act as wholesalers and retailers, so they buy in bulk. So there's no exclusive outlet generally, and there's some delivery cost to the retailer as well. Now, the two intermediary method. Over here we have wholesalers who then sell to retailers, and retailers send to customers. Manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, customer. The two intermediaries are wholesalers and retailers. So this is generally used by in large countries, generally for consumer goods like soft drinks, electronics, books, etc. Generally useful for entering foreign or large markets. So if you have a wider area to cover, you can sell it to some wholesalers who will then sell it to retailers, and it could be spread throughout the particular region. So there will be more distribution, and you can cover as you will be covering wider area, there will be likely more sales as well. So wholesaler holds goods and buys in bulk from the business. As they buy in bulk, you don't have to be concerned about the delivery cost to the wholesaler. You will buy a large amount in bulk, so you can the shipping cost will be generally less. It also reduces the stock holding cost to the producer, as you don't have to stock the retailers you don't have to stock the retailers don't have to stock up the goods and all. So all the storage cost is bared by the wholesalers, not the retailers. So retailers can don't usually increase the price. However, there's another intermediary now. There are two intermediaries, so there's a greater profit markup, and the final product can be more expensive. The producer loses further control over marketing mix, and it slows down the distribution chain. The chain gets longer. It takes more time to reach the customer and all. So that's all. I guess there might be some confusion over these points, but there's nothing much in detail. The first point is, I hope it's pretty clear, but the second point or third point should be like the retailer don't have to stock up the goods. Wholesaler does it, so his cost is reduced. Therefore, he doesn't take a larger profit markup. But yeah, that markup is taken by wholesaler, so it won't be that much big of an advantage. But since it's in our Cambridge syllabus and our book says that it's an advantage, so we have to like consider that as well. Not that big of, it doesn't make much big change, but it is there somewhat a minor change. So that's all. What are the factors that should be considered to decide an appropriate channel of distribution? So some of these factors I've written down over here. It's the cost. Of course, the cost is the first thing that you must be considered. If you are direct selling it, there will be storage or shipping costs. But if you are using more intermediaries, you'll have to give some profit markups, which will reduce profits. So you have to make a compromise between them based on the market, your particular market you are using, the type of product that and the level of service required. So then efficiency should be considered. Lowest cost and fastest reach to customers. Lowest cost and fastest reach to customers. So you have to make a compromise somewhere. And the whichever method you choose, it should give you control over how the product is presented to the customer. It shouldn't be something like you can't control what the price is being charged. So retailers end up charging a heavy price opposed to the product's nature, and your demand might reduce. So you have to consider that as well and try to have some control over that. And it also depends on the type of product. If it's industrial goods, they are tend to be sold directly than consumer goods. Consumer goods, they are usually sold in bulk to the wholesalers, who then sell it to retailers and all. Then the nature of chosen market. If it's a large market and dispersed market that requires more distribution, so you'll likely use more channel of distribution like the two intermediary method. But if it's a shorter market, you can either go for no intermediary or single intermediary. Then the level of service required or demanded by customers. If there is some service required after sales service, you might want some more intermediaries like exclusive outlets or something. So where the shops are the shops the retailers can give some service to the customers. Now lastly, we have packaging. Role of packaging in marketing mix. This is just a short topic. Let's cover it quick, wrap it up quick. Packaging is often an advanced as an additional P to the fourth piece. You can say it's a fifth P, but what's the role in marketing mix? It's the quality, design, color of products. Packaging is often considered to be very important, like perfumes, cosmetics, luxury items. In all these things, all these factors matter. So what is the role of it? It generally protects and contains the product. It gives information about to the customer about the product. It supports the product and sustains the image of the product, the brand image basically. If packaging is poor, it can destroy the quality image that is sought for a product. And also, if packaging is seen to be too wasteful of resources, consumers may respond negatively in an environmentally considered time. If you have an CSR objective and you are using too much resources, then that could be a problem in packaging. Therefore, packaging has to support the overall objective of the business. Overall, it protects the product, attracts the customers, promotes the product, differentiates the product, and encourages purchasing. So that's all. There was nothing much to be discussed in packaging, so I just covered everything that was needed in this one slide. Hopefully you guys understood the topic. Just go through over this and it should be clear. Thanks for watching, and sorry for that intermediary, the pronunciation of that. Thanks Jazakallah for watching. Allah Hafiz.